Hi, I'm Mary Kate Mackey, and I'm a garden writer. I teach writing at the University of Oregon School of Journalism and Communication. And I also teach the Writer's Workout, which is a workshop designed to help any writer sharpen skills. So today, we're going to be talking about a writing structure, specifically the story arc. Story arcs help you organize any garden writing idea, whether it's a profile, a roundup, a list article, or a how-to. A story arc gives you a way of thinking about your material. It helps you decide how you want to tell your piece. We all love stories. In fact, I think we're hardwired for stories. I think that back in the day when early humans were sitting around the campfire, listening to someone talk about where the mastodon was lurking, those who didn't like stories left the fire and met unfortunate ends at the tusks of mastodons, and so they didn't get a chance to keep their genes swimming in the gene pool. Those who were attentive to the stories lived to eat mastodon for dinner and pass on their genetic legacy. In any writing, tell a good story and your audience will love you. Now, what makes a story good? Drama. Well, what's drama? Conflict. Here's the classic beginning to a story. A man wakes up and says, "The last person I want to see is Mr. Dent." Now we know who's on the other side of that door. That's an inciting incident. On the story arc, the inciting incident goes here. Now let's look at what an inciting incident could be in garden writing. A lot of times, it's a problem. Man against nature, or, homeowner against the neighbors, whatever. There is some kind of a problem. And that problem then becomes the inciting incident. Got dark corners in a garden? Here are the plants that'll fix it. What can you grow with a lack of water? Lots and lots of flowers. Or what plants keep down weeds between stepping stones? Each of these problems has an inherent drama. Each of these problems could be considered an inciting incident. So now let's take a very simplistic gardening story and we're going to plot it along the story arc. So first, we need a problem. How about gophers? There it is on the story arc. Now we have a question. What happens next? That's called the rising action. And it gets worse in this particular story because gophers are not to be deterred. The homeowner tries tactics, planting gopher spurge, euphorbias. Gophers are supposed to hate it. No luck. No matter how beautiful and no matter what their common name is, euphorbias don't work. So the homeowner tries dispatching gophers. No luck either. Those efforts are the rising action, the next points in the story arc. So now it all comes to a head. This is the top of the story arc. And in garden writing, this is often the solution to the problem. In this hypothetical case, the homeowner discovers the world of narcissus. Daffodils are ignored by these pesky gophers. So for at least one season, this garden is in its glory. That's the top of the story arc. Hooray! Now let's look at the list article and see how we could sort of use the story arc in the article itself. Let's say the subject is still narcissus. And now you're making a list, and maybe we'll have the problem be that all the bloom happens in the middle of the season. So the list article is going to be about early bloomers and very late bloomers, and the top of the arc, the solution, will be 3 months of fabulous daffodils. Here's the arc for that story. The inciting incident is the problem. Too short a spring show of blooms. Rising action is the exploration of early and late bulbs, and the solution's at the top. The promise of longer bloom time. Hooray! Drama in the garden. The neat thing about story arcs is that they can be used to handle very small amounts of material, or they can be used for organizing large pieces of material and cutting it down to size. In some ways, story arcs are kind of like fractals in nature. Oh, what are fractals, you say? Well, here's the bonus information. I'm going to read you the definition of a fractal. A fractal is a repetition of an intricate pattern found in the natural world, a mathematical proportion that is repeated over and over again, no matter how big or how small. For instance, in trees, the same angle of the trunks is repeated in the angle of the branches, and even in the twigs. That pattern is a fractal, and it's scientifically known through brain studies that human beings love to look at fractals. So, repeating a pattern in the structure of a story arc is very satisfying to the reader. And the story arc, obviously you can use it for a magazine article, but you can also use it for chapters of books. Each chapter has its own arc. And then, of course, the book itself has an overarching arc. And even this presentation has a story arc. Consider using a story arc for your next project. Find your problem and then plot it out along the storyline before you ever even begin to write. Story arcs do a lot for you. One of the things they'll do is add drama. And by adding drama, it actually strengthens your verb usage because you simply automatically use more dramatic verbs. And it also, by plotting it out ahead of time, it saves you time. And of course, the old adage is true for any writer, time equals money. I'm Mary Kate Mackey, and this has been a short segment of the Writer's Workout.